I understand that there are things that we have to do for technical reasons. You can only run a gas motor so fast before it tears itself apart. So the RPM has to be kept under a certain revolution. Temperatures. Some equipment works within tolerances of how hot they can get. So that's a technical reason. We don't put water into hot oil because it foams and can explode, and if it's a gas range, you could have a kitchen fire. Technical reasons why you don't do some things. And for the same reason, some of the companies will set safety standards so that their equipment won't destroy itself while you're using it. In other words, it may overheat, so it has safety features that shuts down the piece of equipment so it won't be damaged. All understandable, I can understand that. But when a company sets an arbitrary standard for a piece of equipment that you've purchased for using legitimately, and they say you can't use it any longer than a particular amount of time, and then we're going to automatically shut it off, and there's no technical reason for it, then that gets me angry. And I'll tell you what's happening in a particular industry, and that we as the public should do something about. This deserves a good talk about.
Hello anyone, I'm Scott Bain. They call me the old farmer. I understand there are many reasons things have been built the way that they have been. I don't even mind left-handed screws and bolts if I'm told ahead of time. As an example, a share or the bottom piece of the plow is bolted in place so that it can be replaced when worn out. From my experience, it's the bolts that hold it in place that wear out. Softer metal in the bolts. The first time I had to change out the bolts for the shares on a 3-bottom plow, I literally snapped off the bolts. Why? My dad thought he would be cute and did not tell me they were left-handed bolts. They were left-handed because of the belief that it would be less likely that the nuts would work off the bolt. I realized my error after breaking off a few bolts. I got even and replaced them with right-handed bolts on only some of the shares and did not tell my father. And now for the past 60-odd years, I look at the threads before adding torque. There is a reason that non-standard bolts are used. Another example, the first electrical on tractors, trucks, and cars was built with positive ground. The reason was that the insulation available was not that good and a negative ground could cause shocks. When insulation got better, the switch was made to negative ground circuits. These standards were set up for a reason. I understand. Where I cannot understand is companies locking out legally purchased merchandise, even though there was no need to do so. Let's do a make-believe example with an auto company putting in a 20-gallon gas tank in a truck, but made it so that you could only put 10 gallons in the tank. That gives you the idea of what I'm talking about. Camera companies have been locking out recording times on still cameras that can also shoot video. That's right, many of the new digital cameras can also shoot video, but there is a time limit on how long the camera will shoot video before automatically turning off. It makes it extremely difficult for dear old Uncle Bob to record a niece or nephew's wedding or birthday party. I'm not saying that if the camera was overheating and shutting down to protect the camera, that's not what I'm saying. This would be a legitimate reason for the camera to turn off. It is strictly a political decision I'm talking about, made by the manufacturers to limit the length of a video. This is what I heard as the reason. I don't know how accurate this information, but we'll use it anyway. Over in Europe, there was a 12% tax on commercial cameras, defined as cameras that could record video for more than 30 minutes. This has nothing to do with the United States. Whatever the cause for the limit, it no longer applies in Europe, but the camera companies are still locking down the time limits. It's all software. Take the timeline out of the script. This is a 10-minute job to change. 2 years for the government to correct if they had to do it. It shouldn't take any more than 30 minutes to create a firmware update and put it on the website. Do a news release to the media. Within 30 days, those who are affected by the time limit will have the new firmware installed. Any shutdown should be because the camera overheated. So I think it's well past time that all camera manufacturers fix this time limit problem. Keeping it in place will not get anyone to buy more expensive gear. They just won't buy from you. My video camera is a Canon, and I'm not going to buy another Canon video camera. When I buy another video camera, it will be a shoulder mount. That is common with news and sports media. Canon does not offer any shoulder mount cameras. I know that I have been wandering around a bit, but it is to create an understanding from my point of view. I know others have different needs and desires, so if you have time, could you put your point of view in the comments? I read and if possible, respond. So in the end, it might be time for a class action suit against these camera companies to make them remove the video time limit, except for thermal protection. This gets to be very expensive just to do the paperwork responding to the complaint. So it would be wise for these camera companies to do the right thing and take the time limit off the cameras that have them. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you for watching, and please be safe.
We'd sure appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a comment. You know how YouTube behaves. They won't believe you watched a video unless you leave a comment. Also, it would help if you ring the bell and do a thumbs up. As you know, if I find a good channel, I pass it on to you. So if you think it's appropriate, it would sure help if you passed us on to your closest 10,000 friends and family. But above all, give a helping hand to someone today. It's the best gift to give. It'll make you feel good too.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the Original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching The Original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.